They'll lynch you, but he did, and he laughs.
Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. Happy Friday. A very happy Friday. I had to sort of edit myself then, because if you swear in the first 30 seconds, YouTube don't like it. But anyway, a very happy Friday indeed. As we always do, the day after the night before, we do the ratings. We're going to do the ratings in a minute. I think it's going to be really good ratings. Today, I think everyone's going to get high scores. Everyone's very happy. And as I put on my Twitter, only a West Ham European competition could include Napa, Amsterdam, and hopefully Prague. So the holy trinity of stag do's. Now, I'm joined obviously by Mr. Anton Baker, who's waiting for a new car. How the other half live at the moment. An electric car, as if it were.
Yeah. It's not all about that. It's just a little cheeky deal. So yeah.
Indeed. Right.
You make it sound like.
So obviously the transfer window's closed. We know transfer window's closed. We know we still do the rumours because the window is over. But the West Ham Network, we've made a permanent signing.
Yes, we have.
After a successful loan deal, we are very
record deal as well. It's a record
loan deal. We are very, very happy to announce the permanent signing of. Hey!
Hello. No release clause. That's it.
No minimum release clause. None. Screw you, Hammershot. Joking. No one can touch her. No. Pop down.
Russ, you need to stop, mate. Russ, you need to stop.
No, Holly's with us now permanently now, and she's joined the West Ham Network as a full-time, one of us, really, isn't it? The three amigos.
Content creator.
Content creator. That sounds really, really.
I've been called worse things. That sounds great. Yeah.
Exactly. And obviously, we were going to do it today. And obviously, if we hadn't won, we probably would announce it next week. But obviously, we won. So fantastic. And as I said, Holly you're seeing a lot more of Holly coming up from now on. So obviously, tweet all about his stuff. Everyone loved it. And so we're doing more of that. And Holly's really looking forward to getting Holly on board. And so it's taken a while to get there, isn't it, Holes? Because someone had to get married and have a honeymoon and all that stuff. But
have a 6 month honeymoon.
Yeah, 6 month honeymoon.
I was just trying to play hard to get. That's all it was. I'm here now, and I'm so excited to be joining the gang. And can't wait to create loads of really fun content with everyone. So it's going to be great.
And also, just before we kind of move on, for people that don't already know Holly, which you probably should, the football knowledge that Holly's got and will bring to the channel is going to be second to none. So hopefully you'll absolutely love it. And we do as well, Holly. So we appreciate you coming on board, and it's going to be exciting times moving forward, working together with you. So thank you.
Cannot wait. No pressure. What an intro.
What an intro, yeah. What an intro. But it's good. It's good. And it obviously, it's we make a point of trying to get loads of different people and different faces, so you're not stuck with just me and Anton. So you got Holly, we've got Alf, we've got Irish Tommy, we've got Budgie, we've got Stato, we've got Jake Pops on. So it is a true network. So we're really happy, and everyone else is happy as well that you're on board full time as well.
A nice welcome.
Good. So okay, let's talk about yesterday. Where do we start? As we said just before we went on, I watched the highlights again just now with a tear in my eye. It was really, I just was like, what am I doing? It's like, I don't think I even cried at my daughter's birth. And then I saw that picture of that girl after Declan Rice's goal, and that's what it meant. We were all that little girl, at 55 minutes past that game with that Declan Rice run. Absolutely outstanding game. But Anton, thoughts? Have you calmed down yet? Have you chilled out yet?
I mean, listen, I had excruciating tooth pain before I came on to do the commentary of the game last night, and that game completely made me forget about it, to be honest. Completely made me forget about it. The kids were upstairs sleeping. The first half wasn't obviously what we probably had planned.
No.
However, when we went a goal down, I very quickly said when I was on the stream, do you know what? the vibe of last year kicked back in. I was actually a bit like, good. I'm glad in a really roundabout, weird way that we've gone 1-0 down because it gave us a kick up the backside we needed. And that's the West Ham of last season. Holly, you said it in your instant reaction. Where's this West Ham been all this season? And where have we been? You know, we gave the performance after the goals we conceded against Arsenal. We've given the performance again yesterday in the second half. And what a performance. It was the manner in how we dealt with it, the pressure, the consistency going forward. And that's the West Ham that excites the fans and can show that we can do a job on paper or on the pitch.
Yeah, totally right. Holly, thoughts? You were there, obviously.
Agree. Yeah, completely agree. I think when we went 1-0 down, we were all joking, being like, oh, this is where we wake up. But we actually did.
Yeah.
And it was incredible to see that they didn't make it easy for us. They were still putting pressure on us the whole time. But we just wanted the ball. And I have not seen that since last season. To hear everyone singing West Ham are massive again.
Yes.
I think it just brought back all the feelings of like when we had that incredible Europa League campaign. And it was like, how is West Ham actually doing this for us? It just felt like, I don't know, just all the feelings came back again. But we were closing down so quickly, winning the ball back in midfield when you never this season would have expected us to get possession back. And then actually just running at them and making things happen. And it was refreshing to see. And I was so excited. I literally was watching highlights in the car on the way home, got back, fast forwarded through all the recordings. I was just like, I want to see it again. So good. And the passion from the players, the fans, people hung around for so long after the game, the sounds from stadium. Just absolutely wonderful.
It was one of those games where we've obviously, you know, so there's certain games which live in your memory, and I think this game will be one of those games when we talk about, you know, a good atmospheres and great day. You know, as we talked about Sevilla, we talked about, you know, maybe Liverpool away at home last year and Lyon away, and this game was that. And to me, it shows that place can be a fortress. Yeah. It can be very intimidating. It can be but it just needs that two-way from the fans and the players. And also I think generally all those, the best atmospheres we've had this season or last couple of seasons is the European games, because it's the away fans bring it. And I mean, Ghent was singing from about an hour before kickoff. They were packed out, and, you know, it was almost like we were up for the challenge. And, it was great. And then they started doing this thing where when the penalty happened, when Paqueta's, they all put their phone, the camera phone lights on to try and distract Paqueta, and obviously it didn't work. So then the West Ham lot, after every goal, they got, and there's more and more phones, more like camera like flashes, like lightning torches.
I've seen that, Holly. You put that on your Twitter, didn't you?
It was so good. Honestly, everyone was just wetting themselves laughing in the stands because everyone suddenly just had their phones out.
I think that's something we're going to start doing. I think that's going to be a thing we'll take on, because certain things.
It's funny you say that, because loads of teams do that in Europe, don't they? It's like when I think was it Man City played Poznan, and then they do the Poznan, the backwards celebration. You know, you're right. Teams do that. You know, when they don't play in Europe much, and that could be something we do.
Yeah, and then when we started doing Olays after about 60 minutes, I was like, this is taking the piss now. This is that I haven't had to sing Olays for years, like on the pitch. But
do you know what? You're talking about the atmosphere. Like, you two were there. I wasn't there and obviously we had the crew who were watching the watch along. But I said to you before we came on, I felt the electric feeling at home. Genuinely felt it. I had goosebumps at home. I could hear the crowd at home, and it must to be there must have just been amazing. I wasn't there, but I had that goosebump feeling, you know. And that's funny. Same with Seville, if you weren't at that game, vice versa, and some of the other results as well. So, but you could hear the fans loud and proud. So yeah, it was amazing. You could,
and as I said, I'm in essence a soundproof box. So I know when it's loud, I can hear it. That's when I know it's loud. And you know, just because the way the box is structured, and you know, it does sway when everyone goes, when everyone's moving, everyone's clapping, particularly when West Ham is massive, because everyone's bouncing, and I could feel it sway. I was like, it's a good crowd tonight. You can hear it's a good crowd. People were up for it, and the team responded. And when they respond, we give them more, and then they respond more. It's such a two-way. It's quite a simple, you know, dynamic really. But it was. And I thought, to a man, I mean, obviously after the game, we went round. You can tell people were buzzing because we had so many people coming up to us wanting to talk. We had some random Belgian blokes. We had the Belfast Hammers turn up, and then the Belgian bloke came back with all his mates, and some bloke who wanted to put his YouTube channel on. I don't know, but it was great. And I mean, this is a good point that Gary makes. Last season we ran out of steam quite early towards the end of the season. It seems we're heading to a crescendo at the moment. We seem to be playing with more energy, more passion. It just seems to be ticking and clicking where we haven't had that all season. And that ain't a bad thing coming into, what could be a huge couple of weeks for us, or a huge 6 weeks for us now.
Absolutely massive. And I think, as you were saying there, where last season we were performing miracles with such a thin squad, this season where we've strengthened the squad, but it hasn't clicked. I've known that all we need is to find the answer. Like I haven't known what the answer is, to be honest, but find ways to make it work. So if that's what we're finally seeing, and we've seen it in dribs and drabs throughout the season, but if this is actually us starting to get things working, and obviously going down against Arsenal and coming back when you're down, and this could be the start of some really good things. So here's hoping. I know I've said it about 10 times this season so far, but this is the one.
And you'll keep saying, and the funny thing is with the Arsenal game, like, we can't underestimate that. I mean, it's the manner and how we did come back against not just any team, but a team that has been sitting at number 1 spot all season, has been challenging, has been beating teams left, right, and centre, has been playing really well. And then equally, turning up against Ghent, who took the game to West Ham last week, and we struggled against Ghent last week. And now I know defensively they didn't look that good. And Russ, you did make the point by saying, you know what, if West Ham properly turn up, I think we can do them over. And we did in the second half. But essentially, I've said it all season, people sometimes downplay this competition, but you can only play what's in front of you. So to go, is that 11 games or 12 games now?
12 games now.
12 games unbeaten in Europe, and we've won 11 of those games. I mean, that is a massive, massive achievement. And I don't care what opposition you play in, but the stats and the way that competitions work, you don't go and win 11 games out of 12. Not many teams can go and do things like that. So, we've played Anderlecht, we've played reasonable sized European teams. It may not be the Barcelonas of the world, but it doesn't matter. You've still got to play what's in front of you and get the job done, and we've done it. So we have to put the credit onto the team, and even onto Moyes, whether you're Moyes in, Moyes out, whatever. Because right now we should be parking all that and concentrating on making sure this club stays in the Premier League and wins the Conference League, because that would be huge. Yeah,
you're totally right, man. I think there's, there is, I think as we've said that before throughout the whole season. I think you and me, Anton, particularly in that conversation. The longer it is clear that it's not going to happen until the summer at the earliest. It's almost like park that, because you want to enjoy it. I mean, Epic's in the chat, and he's like, it's papered over the cracks. It has papered over the cracks, but I'm enjoying having something papered over. We've had nothing to really enjoy it this season apart from the European competition, to be fair. So at the end of the day, Duke makes a good point. All right, Duke, nice to see you, man. Second Euro, the only person that's ever done that, a manager, is Ron Greenwood in 1960s. So
and we have to take on board the fact, like, I get people are thinking we're getting but it doesn't matter. You can only play what's put in front of you. So just because a team who wins the Champions League gets an easier run, nobody sits there and says Barcelona are playing an unknown team from Malta that have qualified through the Champions League because they've won the league. Nobody looks at that and thinks like that. So you can only play what's in front of you and do a job. And do you know what? The competition's brand new. It's the second season on the go. Roma winning it last year probably did the competition the world of good. The semi-finalists of that competition last year did it the world of good, because it was Roma. I'm sure it was Leicester or in and around there. I think it was Eindhoven. I can't remember exactly.
Eindhoven,
Eindhoven and someone else. And it's a reputable competition. It's not. You said the other day, Russ. It's not the Intertoto Cup. It's a proper, like, win it. We could have made, if we do get to the final and we win it, we could make 40 million quid from this competition, win a European competition, and get automatic qualification for Europa League. What will make it sweeter is staying in the Premier League. That will be the cherry on top.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's 40 million for win this, and plus you get about 30 million guaranteed in the Europa League because you're going straight into the group stages. So if it won't happen, if it did happen, but that's 70 million potentially in the bank, which could offset anything that a relegation would include. But we're in a good financial position anyway. But we're not talking about that because obviously we're going to talk about yesterday rather. We're going to talk about the ratings. We're going to get your views in the chat. Anton's going to pick his car up soon. All that type of thing. Great. I mean, could you imagine? Obviously, next week we've got the Youth FA Cup final as well. Conference League. We could win the FA Youth Cup and stay up comfortably. Where was that 3 months ago in day? What a difference a day makes, really, or 2 days in terms of the Arsenal game and yesterday.
Really does.
Just mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental.
That is the absolute beauty of football, isn't it, though? When it's going badly, it feels like the end of the world, and one result can sometimes change how you feel. Like you were saying, papering over cracks, perhaps, but I will happily right now have all the cracks papered over.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing them.
No, we don't
go
like
again
to see
next season. We'll work some stuff out between now and then, but other than that, every result, I just want us to go out, give 100%. It's all we want as West Ham fans anyway, isn't it? Like, we don't expect us to be the best team in the land, but we just want that effort going into every single game and that die-hard attitude. And like Rice getting the ball, getting possession back in our half and running it the whole way to finish it. It's moments like that that just show the passion. That's what we need.
I think also, earlier on in the season, we were talking about fine margins being the difference between West Ham actually being further up the league and then being in where we are right now. But you can only buy that excuse, I suppose, to a certain extent, until you get to the tail end of the season. You're still in the same position. But at that point, then what you're looking for is the fight. You expect the players to dig in deep and show the fight. And I think the Brighton game was really the final nail in the coffin for many fans, because there was no fight, there was nothing there. The Newcastle game didn't help that scenario but equally though, a lot of individual errors that didn't help to that. But you've seen the heads drop, and you're still thinking like, where's that fight? Where's that fight? We dragged out the results against Southampton and Fulham, but the fight came in the Arsenal game. And then what we need is backing that up. We need to back that up with a performance, no matter who you are playing. You need to turn up to the next game and back it up. And this is what makes the Bournemouth game now equally important again. Let's show that consistency, because we've not done it this season. We've built up a little bit of a run. We've won 2 and drew 1 in all competitions in the last 3 games. We now need to go into Bournemouth and take this game to Bournemouth. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough gig. But if we can win that game on Sunday, you can see that maybe you could turn around and say there's a little corner starting to get turned a little bit, coming at the right time.
Absolutely.
I agree. I think in all honesty, whoever wins on Sunday is safe.
I kind of agree. I think
even if we go to 35 points, we've still got the goal difference. That's 30. That's a point as well, unless it's catastrophe. So, 36 is people saying, well, it should be all right. So I think whoever wins that will probably definitely stay up. And that's one gone. But you're totally right. It's now backing up. It was quite funny. I think Declan's interview with Rob Pritchard on the West Ham site. I think he just says something like, "Oh yeah, we'll enjoy it tonight, but we've got a big game on Sunday, Bournemouth, so we'll see you all there and look forward to it." And so there's already, despite the fact he's just scored and he's a captain, he was straight away mind on the Bournemouth game, and I think that's critical. Now we've got a couple of weeks now. Not till the 10th. 10th. Is the next round, the next game. So we've
11th.
got 11th and 18th. Yeah, you're booking your hotel, aren't you? 11th and 18th. So we've got 2 or 3 weeks now to concentrate on the league, and hopefully by the time that comes around, we haven't got any worries in terms of relegation. So, and we were saying after the thing yesterday, Anton, you and me, is like saying this team he's put together now, or this morning, I can't remember. This team he put together, like the one that started yesterday, that to me is the side which pretty much he sticks with now. Maybe 1 or 2 pieces move, depend on fitness, but that's the team going forward every game now for the rest of the season.
To be honest, I think, that when I look at that team last night at the start on paper, I was glad that was the team he put out. You could maybe turn around and go, maybe a couple of players are like, well, why Souček? But I'm moving on from that. Essentially, I expect that exact team to start against Bournemouth. I don't think there should be any difference from that team that starts against Bournemouth. People may say that Creswell should come back in, all that sort of stuff, but we've won convincingly well and done really well, and I think that's that's something that we need to use that momentum with. Like you said, even if it's 9 of those 11 players that start, I do expect a couple of changes, but I think essentially the core is there. Paqueta, Benrahma building up a nice bit of partnership. Emerson working alongside him. Rice, Paqueta, little partnership down there. I bet you any money I'd be intrigued to hear Declan Rice and Paqueta's opinion on Souček, and I bet you any money it's completely different to what all of us fans think.
Yeah.
I bet you any money they think, we need him in this team. And I because there's a reason why they keep playing him. There's a reason why they keep playing him. So they must just think he's great.
Yeah, and I think he's one of those players who, not maybe not put him in the same category, but someone like Hayden Mullins in sort of that mid 2000s, people were like, why is he in the he's like just a name in the team, but actually he was critical to a lot of what was done in the donkey work, so to speak, behind the scenes, and so when he was playing, others could play to a high level. Maybe, I know what you mean. I think it's one of those things with Souček where, and what I thought was quite interesting actually was I can't remember if it was a drunk guy or the guy who was just about to light up his spliff, and I tried to move it away from him on the interview afterwards. That he said about Moyes, and he said the fact that when we go 1 goal down, he theorizes that that's Moyes' plan out of the way. I understand what
he wants to do.
He's probably, yeah. So it's almost like he goes, and therefore that's out the window. So West Ham can play like normally. So like when Arsenal went 2 up, when we went one down yesterday, and it was a really interesting way of him saying it, because actually it makes sense, and he was like pissed out of his head. So I was quite impressed he managed to say that. So
it seems to wake us up, doesn't it? Which is, it's frustrating that it seems that we do need something significant to happen for us to sort of put our foot on the gas in a game, but at the same time, I don't really care what it is anymore that wakes us up. I'm just desperate for us to put in those performances. So we have to go down. I'll take that.
I'll take that. Yeah, if it does kick us. But even last year, I think it was quite often we'd go 1-0 down and win 2-1, or so it was almost like a bit of return back to form. Right, let's get for the ratings. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. I would love to, but unfortunately, some of us. So not everyone can have a card delivered today. Some of us have got to work. So here we go. Right. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll have to do that, won't we? We'll have to do this. Right. Okay. So as always, we give you our thoughts. You give your thoughts in the chat. Go through them. No half points in this game. Areola. For me, I mean, he's the only player who started every game this season in the Europa Conference League. 12 games now. To be honest, nothing to do, did he?
Quiet night. Very quiet night. He didn't really put a foot wrong, but he didn't really have too much to do. So it's going to be a good rating for him today.
I think he highlighted his distribution. I know everyone talks about this as a thing about why they would play Areola over Fabianski, but you can quite clearly see that he is quickly forward thinking. And when he used to sometimes be too quick and the ball would go out, he did seem to be a little bit more cautious on his approach yesterday, but every time he did collect the ball, it was all routine catches, all routine saves, all routine punches, nothing astronomical, but he did distribute the ball really well for us. And I thought that gives him a good mark for that.
Yeah, I mean, again, he did, there's a out to do, didn't pick the ball a match, should have given him a deck chair, nothing to do. I'll give Russ half a point for not accepting half points. Andy, 7. I mean, to be honest, I gave him a 6 because, to be honest, he didn't do anything. He had nothing to do.
Want him to prove himself a bit more.
Yeah, but you're not 7. He's not a fan of Areola though, Holly.
I wasn't a fan of him the other day.
He always drops him a point.
But for me, it's like, if he'd pulled off some worldy saves, then he gets a 7. But if you have nothing in front of you to do, day in the office, standard 6 for me. Right, okay.
2 more.
Yeah, it needs, but then because of that, the defense get a higher score because nothing sort of came through to him. So if he it will never be a percent thing where he'll have the same score as a defense. Because
maybe he commands from the back, so maybe it is a little bit harsh. Maybe. Actually, I think it is harsh. I'm giving him a 7.
You give him a 7. I'll give him a 6.
7 as well for me.
All right, you give it. All right.
Yes, Holly.
All right. Okay. She already gang up on me. She's only been here 29 minutes officially. Right, okay, Vladimir, one of the only players who started each of the 5 games, the last 5 games in all competitions. He's probably, him and Rice, I think, yeah. He's returned to form has been great, and maybe coincided with our upturning form potentially as well. First half gave the ball away quite a bit, I think, but second half I thought him and Jared's just renewed their partnership that they've had over the last couple of years. I thought he played really well, really solid in the second half. Good crosses, just a live wire, isn't he? He's sort of, it's a shame he's 30 now, because I think, I'd love him for like 3 or 4 seasons at peak, but he's going to drop off soon, just because it naturally does when you hit sort of 30. But what do you think about Vlad's performance yesterday?
Do you want to go first? Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Go on. So, second half, I think he was definitely better than the first, but he's just solid. I think he's always a threat in attack, and the 1-2s that he can play with Bowen adds something that we haven't had when we've been missing him. And defensively, I just always trust that he's going to make a tackle. I found myself a lot less stressed watching another team on the break, because you do feel like he makes decent decisions, he closes off angles. So I think every single game he seems to be improving as well. Decent enough balls into the box. For me, I'd give him an 8 last night.
I mean, I think he's actually been one of the main reasons why we've maybe picked up a little bit of form recently. A guy that many fans doubted earlier in the season, me included, and he's one of my favourite players, just because I thought his legs had gone. And that Everton game was inexcusable when we played earlier on in the season. My watch is going off, sorry. But he's come back into the mix. He's getting forward. He's supporting Bowen. Bowen's getting back, supporting him. There's a good bit of unity there.
We've gone on a car speaker.
I think you've
gone on a car speaker.
Yeah, I think your car's arrived, Anton, by the sounds of it.
It's here. I can hear it.
That's brilliant.
We'll never know what Anton thought.
We'll never know what he thought. Bless him. We'll be back on in a minute. What we got here, Bowen. What we're missing since Cresswell and Pyatt. Yeah, I agree. Sufo understands the West Ham way. 8. Antonio is the reason. We'll talk about Antonio in a minute. 8 from me, and you said 8. I've gone with a 7. First half 6, second half 8. So 7 as a combined score. I think and maybe I could a high 7 on that one. That's brilliant. That's so
but
funny.
Not 7.5.
Not 7.5 because no half points in this game. So you're learning. You're learning, Holly. That's it. I'll give Anton's car half a point. Indeed. Brilliant. Or it means his wife. It happens with me, with Joe on her. If I drive the bigger car, she's all hooked up with a Bluetooth, so I end up half hearing her conversations if I drive too close to the house. Right, let's talk about Kurt Zouma. Obviously, we knew Angelo wasn't going to be playing because he was banned, so he'll be back for the semi-finals. But if he gets in, I think he will, over Zouma and again, to be honest. He returned back to the European side. I thought he was excellent. Defensive clearances. When he plays well, because all you can hear is Zouma every time. And it's like when he touches the ball, everyone sort of, gives him that one. Or I had to explain it to someone today. So it was like, why are they booing him? They're not booing. They're booing him because he hits cat. No, but they're not booing him. They're just saying his name. Exactly. Yeah. But I thought he was. He said plenty of chances for the fans to chant his name. Got taken off for 20 minutes to go. I think that's probably right because he's got the body of about a 50-year-old man. So just to give him a little bit of a rest for Bournemouth. But what did you think about? He's back.
Hello.
Here he is.
He's back. What score did you give Sufal, Anton? Just quickly.
I gave him an 8.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, we're talking about Zoo, and Holly's going to tell us about why Zouma played well yesterday.
Zouma was solid. Again, in the air, it feels like we win every single ball, and clearance-wise, that's massive for us. He's strong as well, and he just makes it difficult, doesn't he, for anyone to get the ball down in front of the box. So I think for me, again, another 8, just because I can't think of a single time he actually put a foot wrong last night. Might be wrong, might have missed some, but yeah, I think he was brilliant. Aged was good. I know we'll touch on him in a minute as well. But for me, Zuma was the solid one at the back last night, and it made a big difference. And yeah, resting him is a good idea because I know we don't want him getting injured. We need to keep him fit.
Definitely.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think he is solid. That's what he's been brought in to do. You know, he's not the kind of calm, collected type of defender, which is what probably Agerd's going to be. And I'm delighted that the two of them sparked up that partnership. That's going to do them the world of good. You know, I think that's what was needed. I know we're going to come on to Agerd in a minute, but I think that's the partnership I personally still do prefer.
Yeah.
But Zuma was solid. Nothing could get by him last night. I think I'm going to have to give him a 9, actually, if I'm being really honest, because he did lead from the back, and really the goal pisses me off that we conceded because it was a simple, like, the defense and the midfield were all mixed up. There was no communication going on. They allowed that player to run about 20 yards unmarked. Nobody had an eye on the player at all. He got the shot off. And the fact of the matter is the shot was wild and still went to a player who was unmarked in the box. They only had 2 players in the box. We had like 6 and nobody had marked their players. So that was a downside to it. But if that hadn't gone in, then he could have gone upper side. So I'm probably giving him a conservative 9, but a good 9.
Yeah. I think I've been far too harsh with my scores today. Because I put, do you know, I put it down for a 7, and I put it down for 7 because I don't know. Okay, I'll say an 8. I'm going to change it. I'll put it down for an 8. I think I've been far too harsh. Right, we'll say an 8. Okay, let's talk about Nayof. Let's talk about Nayof. So obviously last week he had the ankle injury, which meant he couldn't play for the Arsenal game. Back with Zuma, obviously in the centres. Maybe left maybe a little bit red-faced with the goal. As you said, him and Zuma, no one really sort of picked him up. And he did the worst attempt at a handball on the line ever, trying to do his shoulder thing, and it didn't. Yeah, if you're going to handball it, just do it properly, and just bend it around the corner. But anyway, give us a chance. But anyway, I thought front foot. He was defending on the front foot rather than the back foot. Great passing as he always does. I mean, I just thought, I think there was if you go back and watch the highlights, his pass and then sort of little play with Paqueta set up Antonio's goal for the fourth one. I thought it was a good display by him. I think, he's not back to 100% confidence there. You can see there's a little bit of nervousness, which is understandable because he had a very poor game, didn't he, a couple of weeks ago? But he's definitely, you can see. I mean, he's still a Rolls Royce to me. Still a Rolls Royce for a player. He's going to be an absolute star for us if he carries on. Holly, thoughts?
Yeah, I think, like you said, I have really, really high hopes for him. I can see that his confidence has been knocked a little bit, and understandably, he looked a little bit panicked on the ball at times. But the balls that he can play out from defence, I think, could offer us a whole new way of attacking whoever we're facing. So still have very high hopes. I'm going to give him a 7 for last night. I think Zuma performed better than him, in my opinion. But like you said, there were moments where we were passing really nicely out of defence, which is something that we haven't done in a while. Sometimes we've been hoofing it, we've been panicking. So yeah, 7 for me for Agerd.
Yields. Anton?
I think, he's one of my favourite players. Like, I think he's got his future so bright at West Ham. It's ridiculous. I think that his style of defending is also part of our transitioning as a team. And he starts attacks from the back. And because we're not maybe playing in that flamboyant style, then it looks sometimes like he's got to do different things with the ball. And if everyone's not on the same wavelength as him, then that forces him into an error. A bit like how we look at Paqueta when he gives the ball away when he's up front. I know it's very different when you're doing that, giving the ball away up top compared to giving the ball away at the back. But his styles had to change. I really am excited about him. What I did notice, though, is there's an element of a leader in him. Now, did you notice when he seems to be an extremely popular member of the squad? When Declan Rice went down to do his contact lenses, the first player and only player that was there helping him was Agerd, arm around him, kneeling down with him, because obviously he's bilingual, he can speak all different languages as well. I think he's a really, properly liked guy in that squad, and he's got a massive future at West Ham. But I think that, you're right, Zuma I think Zuma plays so well because he's got the confidence that Agerd's there, and I think when Agerd plays well, it's because he's got the confidence that Zuma's there. And when they have a bad day in the office, it's only because they're getting used to each other. But I think moving forward, if it's not going to be Zuma, depending on his injury moving forward, then so be it. But Agerd gets a high score for me. I'm going to give him. I don't know if he warrants an 8, but I'm going to give him an 8. I'm going to give him an 8 because I gave Zuma a 9.
You said 8. Holly said 7. I said 7. That's 7. Right, let's move on. Let's start making our way for our Bill. You know, right, Emerson. Obviously, Emerson brought back into the side. I think originally harshly for Aaron Cresswell, but Cresswell played well the last couple of games. I'll be honest. He obviously works very well with Ben Rama. They work very well together. For a left back, I don't know how many shots he had yesterday. He had 3 or 4 shots on target. For a left back, that's bloody impressive in the box. He does get forward quite a lot, which I think we need, and it brings forward momentum. It's an area which obviously we know has always been a bit of a problem with us in terms of that left back. But I think Emerson played really, really well yesterday. Thoughts, Miss Holly?
In terms of attack, I think he did really well. For their goal, I did notice that he wasn't on the ball completely for it. So I think it was probably partially to blame alongside other, obviously, players that we did concede. But attacking-wise, I think he's good. He probably just needs a little bit more time to find his feet and really work out what he's doing within the team. But it was a decent enough performance. I'd give him a 6.
I completely agree with you, actually, Holly, on that one. I think I'd give him a 6 as well. The first goal really did piss me off, and I think he was pivotal as the reason why we did concede. I'm not just going to put the blame on him because we won and we got through, but I still like what we see in him. I sometimes just get disappointed at the inconsistency of team selection. He's in the team, then he's out of the team, then he's in the team, then he's out of the team. He gets a run of games and Creswell suddenly appears and out of nowhere. So maybe a run of games might give him a boost, but yeah, 6 for last night.
Yes, I gave him a 6 as well. Let's move on like Donkey Kong. Let's talk about Declan Rice.
Do we need to talk about him?
Do we need to talk about Declan Rice? There's not really much you can talk about him. He was mesmeric, and was actually given a bit of took him off midway for towards it. Gave him a bit of time off to chill out. Which is very rare that Declan Rice gets any minutes off the pitch really in terms of bringing him as a sub. Look, I'm going to. He was my man of the match. I gave him 9. Man of the match. Holly, what did you think about Declan?
So obviously he was just sensational last night. Winning possession back for us was absolutely massive. He was making runs. He was pulling players with him when he didn't have the ball. That goal that he scored just epitomised everything that I love about West Ham, which is just that like grit and determination to just make something happen. And it's what I've been wanting us to do. In terms of ratings, is 10 like unheard of? I just want to check before.
Well, you can give him a 10. I don't think I've given anyone a 10, but you can give him a 10.
Okay.
You can give him a 10. It's early. Well, you've set your stall. If you give him a 10 now, it's like
I don't want to peak too soon. No, it's a 9. It's a 9. It's a high 9, but it's going to be a 9 for Rice for me. I don't think he did much wrong at all. We know that he very rarely gives possession away anyway, but what he did with the ball and what he did off the ball for me puts it right up at the top.
I agree with everything everyone said. I'm giving him a 10. I'll tell you why. Woo! Without that goal, he's a 9. And I think that goal just puts him into a 10. He was a 9. It was a 9 performance all the way through that game. And that goal just made it a 10 for me. He was phenomenal, like you said, Holly, breaking up the play, the way he glides past players, skipping by 2 or 3 at a time in dangerous areas. Wow, what a player. Bloody brilliant, man.
And what a lot of people picked up on, here his left foot. That's his weaker foot.
Yes.
Just saying.
I love his celebration. No, I love his celebration that he doesn't know he's doing. His sliding is.
Yeah, and it's just like, where did that come from? And it's like at the end with the like literally, and I saw it as he came off the pitch. Someone took that picture, and I was trying to find that, and I found it, and that's him outside the tunnel, just doing it as he's walking in the tunnel. And I was like, I was looking everywhere, and I found it. I was so happy. Let's talk about his midfield partner, Paqueta. It was almost like, for me, this was like him arriving. It felt like yesterday. I felt like he arrived. The fact is, he played the whole game, which again, it hasn't happened. I don't think recent, or certainly not very often. He played the whole game. He was. There was there were some tricks, there were some flicks, there was a lot of obviously he gave the ball away, or the pass which led to the first goal. But we say that the thing is he's trying to make all his passing progressive that there will be occasions where I think he still ended up with about 80% pass completion yesterday, despite that. A goal and an assist. Not a bad day. Not a bad day in the office for me from Lucas. Thoughts, Holly?
It's got to be a 9 for me. Like you were saying there, the goal, the assist. The only thing that frustrates me ever so slightly still about Paqueta is that sometimes the weight of his pass just breaks up an attack. But in the same way, like you said, if someone's trying things that are creative and we want someone to do something that's different, it's not always going to work. And I think that comes with that kind of player. So I think great performance, brilliant penalty as well. I was expecting Benrahma to take it. I was worried when he stepped up to the spot and he finished it perfectly. So great performance. And I'm excited. I really hope that this will bring him confidence, because that kind of player that has all the flicks and the tricks and the showboating and things like that, it needs you've got to have the confidence going to do that, and hopefully this will push us in the right direction even more. So yeah,
totally. Mr. Baker,
I would have given him a 10 if it hadn't been for that goal that he did give away. He started the process of their attack, and I get that he does that and tries that, but it's the fact that it did lead to a goal, so I've marked him down on that. I agree with everything everyone said. I was so excited by him. The way he's played, the way he's come in, he gets stuck in, man. You're talking about the stats. I mean, when you look at his defensive stats on top, I mean, he touched the ball 71 times. He touched the ball more than any other West Ham player on the park. That shows you how effective he was. He touched the ball nearly 30 times more than what Declan Rice did, and he had an 80% pass completion rate. He won 50% of his ground duels, nearly 80 to 90% of his aerial duels in the game last night. He did lose possession 14 times, but he was trying to change something. If someone asked for his heat map, there's his heat map for the game last night. It was all over. He was all over the shop, man. He was everywhere. He done absolutely everything for us on the field. His build, creating partnerships with the likes of Benrahma. You can see the vision that him and Declan Rice have got. And you know what? I know we're going to talk about Souček in a second, but I think that those two players might, Declan Rice and Paqueta might really love Souček. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but in order for them to play the way they do, they might feel a bit more comfortable with him in the mix there, but who knows? But yeah, I give him a 9.
Yeah. I gave Deck a 9, so he got an 8. That's what I did. And I thought, I don't know if you felt the same. My heart was in my mouth when he did that stutty run for his penalty. I'm like, oh, fuck's sake.
yes.
We're not used to it. We're not used to it.
Tick is a goalkeeper, just didn't move. We did the stutter. We went, and it was like, shit.
Oh no.
Crap. Right, let's talk about Souček. Let's talk about Thomas Souček. Obviously, still in the side. Defensively, I thought he was okay. He was the captain for the last 20 minutes when Rice went off. Unlucky when we, to hit the post from first time shot in the second half, I think it was just before the penalty. I thought he played all right. Yesterday. Again, nothing. I mean, if you look at the stats, he won't have had a massive pass complete, loads of passes or whatever, but he got stuck in, and I think.
I'm going to quickly interject there. He actually was 86% pass completion with 45 touches. He made 30 of 35 passes, which is quite decent. It's more than normal. But it's also his defensive stats from yesterday's game. He won 5 ground duels from 8 attempts, and he won 50% of his aerial duels as well. But he was involved in being fouled a lot. He was fouled quite a lot. He cleared the ball. He made several tackles. It was one of his better games in a West Ham shirt, to be honest. But he goes about his business so quietly. And I'm from the fact that he previously has been a bit dire, but I think he was a bit more than bang average personally. I'm not going to give him a high score, but I think he definitely was more than bang average. Sorry.
Yeah. Go on, Holes. Go on. What do you think about Tommy Souček?
For me, Souček is one of those players that does a job quite silently. Don't get me wrong, he's definitely had nowhere near the seasons that he's had in the past. His performances haven't been as good, but I do think that it's allowing players like Rice and Paqueta to push up more, while he was closing down the angles a lot, which actually did stop quite a few of their attacks coming down the centre. So while stats wise it sounds like he's done all right there, I know that the way that he's playing isn't particularly pretty and it doesn't particularly excite us, and the goals have dried up, so we don't have that about him. But for me, I'm going to give him a 7. I don't think he did anything particularly wrong. I think he put in a pretty decent performance. And I still think he's doing the job at the moment that we need someone to do there. And hopefully he can improve and get a few goals every now and again would be nice. But 7 for me for last night.
Yeah,
Agreed.
fair enough. I gave him a 6, and I thought it was quite nice actually. If you watch the Declan Rice interview, one of them,
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
it's nice to see him smile. Nice to see him smile because he doesn't smile on the pitch, so it's nice to see him smile, which is always good to see. Let's move on quickly. Let's go with Ben Rama. Not his best game, I'll be honest.
No.
I didn't think so. Missed that impact. That's particularly in the second half when we were so like open. That's when I thought he would have come alive, but he just wasn't. I don't know what it was, whether he was not the races or he's not 100% fit or whatever. But he was better in the second half. But he just seemed, I don't know. I think they said it was made for him, to be honest. But at the end of the day, he let Antonio have the ball to make him the 4-1 because he took it off his toe basically, and obviously he was taken off after 20 minutes. So we know that he's in Moyes' plan for the Bournemouth game. Otherwise, he never would have taken him off. Thoughts about Benny yesterday, Holly?
Benny was running a decent amount, but I feel like it just wasn't quite coming off for him yesterday. Defensively, it does worry me as well that he's not tracking back how I would want him to. But yeah, I think he did well enough, but again, I don't think he made any difference yesterday, so I'm going to give him a 6 for yesterday's performance.
Okay. Over to you, Mr. Baker.
I don't want to see him playing the wing. I really don't. I actually think he'd be so effective through the middle. I think he'd be really exciting, and I think it would be an exciting West Ham performance if we saw him through the middle. Listen, I want this player to succeed at West Ham so much, but his final third's really disappointing. There's several times that we get through, and I think everyone notices it. When he gets the ball, he doesn't look up, and he just crosses it into the mix. And he gets frustrated, but I don't think he's frustrated at his teammates. He's frustrated at himself because when he's trying to put it in the mix, he's overhitting it or underhitting it. He's never getting it perfectly into the mix. It's either going out for a goal kick or it's getting hit by the first man. And that's the kind of really disappointing thing. But I think there's a player there that should just be playing through the middle. It just takes me back to Felipe Anderson. His best time at West Ham really did play through the middle. He was exciting, impactful, and I think Ben Rama can do that from that middle position. But I don't think we're going to see it. So yeah, frustrating day at the office and gets a 6 for me.
Yeah, he gets a 6 for me too. I'm the same. There's so much there. He can. It's just, he said, it just seems a little 5% here, 5% there, and you'll have a world beater on your hands. Do you know what I mean? There's no. He's almost there, but it's that next step. Right. Let's talk about Bowen. Wow. Obviously, he set up his free kick. Great free kick for Antonio for the first goal. Joint top for assists this season now, which is where he should be, to be honest. Should have scored as well. Unlucky. Couple of good efforts on chart. No, you know what I mean.
Are you okay?
A couple of good efforts on target. That's what I meant. And obviously had one rolled off a handball. Certainly deserved the goal. But he played really, really well yesterday. I thought he was after the Arsenal game. It was a good follow up. I thought he was. Anything that sort of broke away tended to be down his side, him and Soufal. I thought he was superb. Thoughts, Holly?
Yeah, him and Soufal's link up was absolutely brilliant. And I know that if I was defending against that, I would absolutely hate it because the 1-2s, he was constantly running, finding space, just making it difficult for the opposition. And he was unlucky to not score. I was really happy when I thought he had scored for a minute. And I think we're finding the form that he was in last season and the things that he was doing so well seem to be creeping back into his game. And I'm really happy about that. So an 8 for me. Very good performance.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give him an 8 as well. I mean, he's tracking back a lot recently, especially in the Arsenal game and in this game yesterday. He's really, like, him and Soufal are picking up that partnership, like you said. Earlier, they really are. They're working together where you didn't see that unified approach between the two of them earlier in the season. You're seeing it now. So Bowen's getting back and being effective at doing his duties back there, but he's got the pace, he's got the energy, and he's got the fitness to be able to get up forward again and cause them problems. Every time he's on the ball down the right hand side, you can't help but think this guy's gonna cause problems, whether he's intercepted or not. Like, he's always got a chance for goal. He did have a chance. He hit it at the front post. Keeper saved it. Stretched arms and put it out for a corner, and obviously he had that goal that was chopped off. But finding form at the right time, hopefully, touch wood, and that's what we want. So I'll give him an 8 for that.
Yeah, no, I thought he played very well. And he said, it's exactly how he said, he's getting back to those levels that we need for him until he ends up playing shit for a couple of weeks because Danny dropped the twins. So yeah, as is per usual. 8 from Rusty B. Right, let's talk about the last person we'll talk about is Antonio. The subs didn't only played half of that. We don't tend to do the subs, but Antonio. Now I'm not his greatest fan, particularly this season, but fair play. He's the main man. Yes, he scored. I mean, even Moisey said it in his post-match press conference, saying that Antonio was pretty poor at the beginning of the game. Then he walks away with 2 goals, and actually that does paper over the cracks of performance really when you score goals. And because he scored goals, fair play to him. 2 good goals. First one header, doesn't score many headers, so it was good to see. Near post header, and the last goal was what he does occasionally. Was that outside the box as well?
No, just inside.
See, never
outside.
Never.
He
even
carried
that
it
one,
in.
even that one, even that one was on the line that he thought he'd scored outside the box. But I mean, this game and the Arsenal game, it's Antonio we probably would have seen 18 months ago. Just bulldozering people and beast mode, and that's all we've been asking for. Yeah, I think he's now the club's, or he's getting close to the club's all-time goal scorer in Europe. If not, he is there already.
He must be now, surely.
Must be now there, sure. Which is again something. I mean, Fornals is the highest ever appearances in Europe as well. But Holly, what do you think about Mr. Mark Henry himself, Antonio?
I am really happy to see him on the score sheet, 2 goals, and the things that he hasn't been doing so well. It's basically been that touch of a trampoline that he's had recently. And it felt like that was happening less often last night. And when it was working, he was turning players. He was just running at people and made it really difficult as well, which I think opened up a lot of space for other players to get balls in the box. So for me, I think he did everything that I could have wished that he could have done last night. I'm going to give him a 9. He's looking confident. He's looking strong. And I'm hoping that this is the start of a strong end to the season. So maybe a bit optimistic.
Well, he's playing for a transfer at the end of the season. That's what he's doing now. Anton, thoughts?
Yeah, no, listen, I don't think many players played great in the first half, but they all came out and gave us a show in the second half. His hold-up play was really good in the second half compared to the first half. That's everything we all really ever want him to do, is hold the ball up, play, bring in the midfielders, and then charge forward. And his confidence has grown because obviously he got a good striker's instincts to be in the front post in front of the defender to head the ball into the back of the net, but to drive forward like he did with the confidence that we've seen him do so many times and miss and hit it into Rosette or wherever he hits it into space. But to be able to put that ball into the top corner and not give the keeper any chance was phenomenal. Back to a little bit of the old beast mode that we've been looking for, and gave me a little bit more confidence in what he can offer. I still think he's got a future at West Ham. It just might not be as a starter moving forward for the new season, but it looks like we're going to finish off the season with Antonio. So albeit we want him to hit form at the right time, and he has. He's got a brace. So be it. So I'll give him a high score of. I'll give him a 9. He deserves a 9 for a brace.
A 9. I tell you, Michael makes a good point. Do you think Antonio's run of form is because he is now number 1 choice because Skarmaka isn't available until the end of the season now, and Ings isn't seen as first number? He's back to being the top guy again, and that may well have just given him that boost of confidence. Maybe before he's always said, I want competition. He gets competition. He starts moaning. He's not getting any game time. Now he's sort of the main man again. Is that why he's improved the last couple of games? I don't know. Yeah. And we have scored more goals in Europe now than in the league, which is crazy.
And on the point as well, Antonio is now joint with Jared Bowen as West Ham's top goal scorer in Europe.
Yeah.
But listen, I do need to head, guys. Much love. I'll see you soon. I do need to go. Sorry.
Okay. I gave him an 8. Go on, bugger off. I gave him an 8 as well. We won't go through the subs much. Obviously, Flynn came on. 20 minutes. Thought it's nice touches, but the game is done then. So same as Ings and Kira, Cornet, Fornals. Again, not massive things to write home about, so we're not going to go through them anymore. But Yeah, I mean, it's always plays well when playing for new contract. Exactly, James. Exactly. That's my thinking about Antonio. He's coming in. You know, people are going to start looking around for him in the summer, and he's playing really well now. Anyway, so that's it. That's it. I think it was a good performance. Obviously, we move on to AZ Alkmaar. We did a little info video this morning about everything you need to know about them. Currently fourth, I think, in Eredivisie. I think they're fourth, yeah. Some good players, and not going to be easy. Not going to be easy, but I think their coach was born in London as well, so I'm sure they'll do some stuff with him. But anyway, and then we move on to Bournemouth rather at the weekend. So yes, we'll be doing all the Bournemouth stuff, Pete. Coming up, we'll have the press conference later on today, which we'll do. I think Irish Time will be doing the late show, and then we'll do all the other bits and bobs coming up to it. And yeah, and just to reiterate that Holly is now permanently signed with the West Ham Network. Terms have been agreed, and and I was trying to do one of those pictures, but I literally like 5 minutes before we started, I was going to do one of those things, but I didn't have time.
Like holding the shirt, signing the contract.
Shirt. Yeah. Anyway, agent level Russ better do. Yeah, exactly. They totally are. What was I going to say? What the hell was up with Fornals? Normally such a calm guy. He looked really pissed off, I think, when he came on.
Yeah.
He looked really pissed off. And I think just naturally
when he booted that ball as well. And even after, I don't know if you saw, but at full time, he went and gave his shirt and said sorry to the people he booted the ball at, but he was off straight down the tunnel afterwards as well.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to prove himself. He's got little opportunity to do it now. And when it's not going well, he seems to be getting frustrated.
Scott makes a good point. We should have done a Paqueta-like signing video. Which got you into the top of the roof. And put our £50 million signing on the roof. That was clever, wasn't it, West Ham? As I said, if you want to support the channel, obviously subscription, all that type of stuff. If you want to become a channel member, all that good stuff, and then you get entered in. We're going to be giving away. We've started to put some member-only content for the members, like Jonty's videos and things like that. Will be going straight to the members, so you can join that. And obviously, you get entered in every month for memorabilia. This month, actually May and June, we've got even better now, because if we win something, we've got 2 signed shirts from our channel sponsors. Let me go full screen. Sorry, I'm just gonna go full screen, Holly, so they can see this. So signed by I don't know, loads of. I think Gaird's there. Who's 32? Who's 32?
Who is 32?
I don't know. Anyway, you failed your induction, Holly. Sorry.
Yeah,
so there's all those. That's Connor Coventry, isn't it? 32, I think. So anyway, it's signed by. We've got 2. We've got 2 of them. So one for this month, one for May, one for June. So anyone who becomes a channel member gets automatically entered into it. So it's a couple of quid, and that's a raffle ticket basically to win a signed shirt. So make sure you check that out. And until next time, from myself, from Holly, and from Anton, who's obviously in his brand new car. Posh git. We'd like to say take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, and we'll be back for all the stuff for the Bournemouth game. And ta-da, bye-bye.
Happy Friday. Have a good weekend.
Enjoy the weekend. West Ham can't ruin it until Sunday. There
exactly.
We go.
Couple of days to go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.